Hello, Fuse Nation. My name is Alex Feuz, the host of Fusion News, and today is August 17th, 2017, and I have a very big show for you right now. I am on the phone right now with Erik Boland, New York Yankees beat writer for the Newsday Sports paper. So, Erik, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Alex. How are you?
Good. So, I have to ask you this one. How important was the pitching additions to this Yankee team so important to them before the trade deadline was over?
I mean, I think they were paramount, and you look at what Sonny Gray has done so far. He finally got some runs the other night when they played with the Mets in his third start. He had just had bad luck in his previous two starts, but he's a guy that he really, look, Luis Severino is clearly. I know his last start wasn't very good, but before that, he was pitching almost as well as anyone in the American League, not named Corey Kluber or Chris Sale. You slot Gray in as your number two guy, and that's something that the Yankees have been missing this year. And so he obviously helped solidify the rotation, as did Jaime Garcia. I think he's going to be okay. I know Yankee fans are a little frustrated. His first three starts haven't been great, but I think Garcia is still, by the end of the season, going to show himself to be an important addition. And then what they did in the bullpen, they went from already having one of the best bullpens in baseball to having what I think now is clearly the best bullpen in baseball, because there's no weak links out there. If you want to say Chase and Shreve, maybe, I think that's even nitpicking. I think if he got utilized more, I think he would, probably have a little bit better numbers. But you look at what Warren has done and Green has done and Robertson and Canley, and I know Chapman is struggling, and, that's a little bit of a concern. But, they bullpen-wise look as good, if not better than anyone. And I think their rotation matches up with anyone that they might, if they do get into a divisional playoff situation. Other than the Indians and possibly the Red Sox, I think they match up pretty much with anybody.
Mm-hmm. And two guys in that back bullpen that has really been stressing Yankee fans out recently is Dellin Betances and Aroldis Chapman. How concerning should Yankee fans be going into this deep run of the season with this back end of the bullpen?
I wouldn't be overly concerned yet. I mean, look, Betances has been really, really good. He had that 2 to 3 week stretch, right, sandwiched around the All-Star break, where he struggled with his command first and foremost. So you're just walking a ton of guys. He's been really good the last couple of weeks. And, now Chapman, it's been his turn to struggle. Look, in big picture, Chapman hasn't been the same since he came off the disabled list from the shoulder inflammation. But if you look at his 13 outings before last Friday night, when that was the first of 3 bad ones in a row for him, he had a 1.54 ERA, something like that. So he was doing just fine. Not as dominant as we've seen him in the past, but his numbers were still pretty good. So I think it's too early to panic over at least 3 bad outings out of Chapman.
Mm-hmm. Aaron Judge has set the new season record for strikeouts in the amount of the season, but he also hit a home run last night. So should Yankee fans be totally concerned about how many strikeouts Aaron Judge has this season, or do you think Yankee fans can take a deep breath because look at the amount of home runs he has this season as a rookie?
Well, Alex, let me ask it to you this way. How much did you hear about his strikeouts in the first half of the season when he hit 30 home runs?
Not at all.
Because he still had a lot of them. He was leading the team. He was leading the AL in strikeouts. But again, he had an 1,100 OPS, 30 home runs, leading the AL in RBI, et cetera, just about every offensive category, really. So he's a guy that's going to strike out. He's a power hitter that the old, he'll hit big and he'll miss big. He's been missing a lot more the second half than obviously in the first half. I think it's a return to the mean more than anything. I don't think he was the 330 hitter, he's not going to be the 330 hitter in his career that we saw the first half. But I don't think he's the 165 or 175 hitter that we've seen this second half either. So, I think he's going to settle into that, with some of the the really good power hitters do settle in, and that 265, 275, maybe in a really good year he hits 285 or 290. But as long as the on-base percentage is high, which of course comes, a lot from his ability to draw walks, which even as bad as he's been post-All-Star break, he's still getting his share of walks. So, pitchers, they're certainly pitching him a lot better than they were in the first half of the season, but they're still being very, very careful with him as well. So, I think his struggles to a degree have been overblown. I mean, certainly you have to cover it, and it's been such a precipitous drop-off that I'm not underselling it as a significant thing. But I think there's been a little bit of overreacting to it as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, Erik, another rookie this year that has really proven himself to live up to his name is Clint Frazier. He's on the DL right now. If you were Brian Cashman, what would you do? Would you send Clint Frazier down to AAA level and keep Aaron Hicks in his spot? Because Aaron Hicks has been playing like the first half Aaron Hicks before he went on the DL. So what would you do if you were Brian Cashman when Clint Frazier comes off the DL?
Well, I don't have the numbers in front of me, Alex, but I think this is going to be an easy call for Cashman for a variety of reasons. Frazier was in a pretty big slide right before he got hurt. I think he was 5 for his last 35 or 38 or something like that. So he had cooled off considerably. And also the calendar works in everybody's favor here because September 1st you get to call up guys from the minor leagues anyway. And Frazier, even if he was red hot and got set down, he was going to get called up on September 1st regardless. So, I think whenever he's ready, and we still really don't have a time frame on him, he's not really doing full baseball activities as yet. So, even though they termed it a pretty mild oblique strain, he really has not been doing much since they put him on the DL. So, if he's activated, by the last week of August, and I'm not saying that's when he will be activated, but let's say that's when he is activated, I would expect he'd get set down, and then again, he'll be called up on September 1st with whomever else they decide to call up. So I really don't think that's a big deal, to be honest.
All right. And CC Sabathia is returning to the Yankees this weekend against the Red Sox. But do you have an update on Masahiro Tanaka and Starlin Castro and also Greg Bird and when they will be making their return to the Yankees?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, Sabathia, he's going to get slotted back into the rotation on Saturday. Tanaka will be slotted back in at some point during the Detroit series. Joe Girardi hasn't specified that as yet, but he threw through flat ground yesterday. He's going to throw a bullpen, upcoming here, and barring no setbacks, Joe Girardi said last night before the game at Citi Field that Tanaka will take his next turn in the rotation. At some point during the Detroit series, which goes Tuesday through next Thursday. So, the news looks pretty good there. Bird, so far, so good in his rehab assignment with AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre. It's possible that he's back at some point during the Detroit series, though I think they likely would probably wait until they get back home from this the trip that starts tomorrow in Boston. But again, you can't rule out Bird possibly coming back during the Detroit series. And then Castro, he's behind. They haven't really laid out a time frame for him quite yet because he's his hamstring has him behind Greg Bird in terms of the progress that he's making. So they're not quite ready yet to say when Castro is going to be back.
Okay, and let's talk this weekend. It's a huge series for the Yankees. They are very happy with the series that went against the Mets so far. Let's see how they play tonight and to see if they could possibly sweep the Mets. But this is a huge series for the Yankees. What do you expect from this Yankee team against Boston again this weekend?
Yeah, I expect that they'll give themselves a chance to win the series. I mean, Boston's playing terrific. You can't overstate that enough. And even as well as the Yankees have played this week against the Mets, it's been tough to gain ground because the Red Sox keep winning, and they had a thrilling comeback walk-off win against the Cardinals last night. So, the Red Sox really have things going right now. John Farrell a week and a half or so ago, rejiggered the rotation somewhat so that for every Yankee series the rest of the way, Chris Sale's going to pitch in one of those games, so the Yankees are going to see him again. We know how tough he's been this year. But look, the Yankees by all rights, you could say, the last series, they probably should have won 2 out of 3. I mean, look, the Red Sox would say, well, we should have won the game on Friday night because their bullpen imploded, and they're probably right about that. But the Yankees won Saturday, and then they blew the game on Sunday when they had a lead, and Chapman gave up the home run to Devers in the ninth inning. So it was a tough series. It was a good series. I don't think Boston has shown itself in any of the matchups that we've seen this year, to be that much better than the Yankees. And the Yankees actually have won more games against the Red Sox this year than they lost. So, I think it's one of those things where the Yankees match up pretty well with the Red Sox. And even though it's a 4.5 game lead for Boston, and we'll see what it is after tonight if the Yankees are able to complete the sweep, as you mentioned, Alex. But I think the Yankees go into the series at Fenway with a lot of confidence that not only can we play with these guys, but we can beat them. Whether it pans out that way, who knows? Again, Boston's playing really well. They're on the roll that everyone thought they were going to be on when they left spring training. It took them a while to get there, but they're playing like the favorite that they left spring training as. But I expect a good series.
Mm-hmm. Well, Erik, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to come on my show today. And where can the Yankee fans follow you on Twitter to stay updated throughout this Red Sox and Yankees series?
I enjoyed it, Alex. Thanks for inviting me, and I look forward to doing it again.
Yes, thank you, Erik. Okay, Feuz Nation, just heard it from Erik Boland, New York Yankee beat writer. He had a lot to say about this New York Yankee team, and I want to say thank you, Feuz Nation, for taking the time to watch my show today. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the follow button on Twitter at Alex Feuz. Be sure to like all my other videos, hit the watch button, watch all my other videos as well. Feuz Nation, thanks for watching, and I will be seeing you tomorrow with 2 big shows. Stay tuned.